that will run across some of these really severe diseases. And when they in fact have these situations that come up, there's going to be hope now, because there's places like this that are here that can help deal with some of these very serious health issues. And, you know, this is really a time right now where we're seeing a breakthrough where quote-unquote medbed type technology is being brought to the forefront, and people like Mel and Dr. Sandra are creating this technology. They're making it available, and it's coming out now where our friends and family in the future have a lot of new options. And like I said, I'm going to keep going back to it, the nutritional aspect of it is always going to be super important, because as much as they'll give you every pharmaceutical drug known to mankind, it's going to be very rare that you're ever going to get prescribed healthy, high-dose, nutrient-based foods. So it's going to be up to you as your own individual person that's going to look out for your family, that's going to look out for your friends, that's going to have the knowledge base to say, hey, you know what? I know what they're probably going to say to you. I probably know what they're going to prescribe. And like I said, at my age, I haven't seen that change all that much. And hopefully someday it will. But at the meantime, there is a growing number of people, and there's a growing amount of knowledge that's being put to the forefront so that people like you here today will be able to help other people by sharing that knowledge, and perhaps maybe not knowing all the technical aspects of all this technology, which I'll get into here in just a second, Alan. I'm sorry to sidetrack. But we're living in a very exciting time. The Star Trek reality that we were given as kids is becoming a true reality. Captain Kirk with his flip phone saying, "Beam me up, Scotty," is a reality. In fact, those things are outdated now, quite honestly. Anybody showing up with a flip phone is definitely going to be ridiculed. But to get to Mel's question, and Mel, that was kind of a long circle to get to it.
Sure.
How did I get involved in the technology, and where, you know, what is it that's inspiring me to want to be out there, you know, trying to do what I'm doing, which is really just spreading knowledge. I mean, you have incredible inventors and scientists that are actually creating the technology, but in my world, I found that if I could help get that information out to the public, that's probably my better skill set. The thing that's interesting about medbed type technology, and there's a lot of programs that this gets into, it's a very deep subject, and I don't want to dig too far down into that hole, but you really can't get too far into it unless you're getting into stuff that I would call off planet, right? Which is programs and stuff that is being run that a lot of these conceptions of what medbeds are have circulated through. The interesting thing about where we're at right now, and we've got Nikola Tesla, and we've got Royal Raymond Rife, it's their work that's really starting to come to the forefront. It's second and third generation scientists that have taken the work of these brilliant people and applied it and enhanced it and done more studies and done more advancement of these technologies. The thing I find incredibly interesting, and then I'll move on and actually answer your question, is that the plasma-based technology, which is one of the technologies that I find incredibly fascinating, is actually inscribed in hieroglyphics in Egypt. These plasma energy systems, dual tube systems, were actually being used a very long time ago. And so it almost comes to a point where we're rediscovering our past in some ways, which I also find incredibly interesting. And I find it also very interesting that although I know who Mr. Tesla was, and I really didn't even know Mr. Rife until my later years, but you know, these are all people that really made substantial contributions to the life that we're starting to live and the world that we're moving down right now. And so, Mel, with the technology, with the plasma, and I'll get a little bit into it, we don't have to get too deep, but basically, what you see with Mr. Rife, who actually produced, well, Tesla in these pictures is actually, one of the ones back there is sitting in a field, a plasma energy field, which is all lightning. Lightning is technically plasma energy. And so he was working with these different plasma energies over 100 years ago. And then Mr. Rife, basically an incredibly brilliant man, developed a microscope with over 6,000 working parts that could magnify something 60,000 times, and he could actually look at a cell and he could actually see that live living cell manifest and do whatever. And then what they would do is run frequencies through all those different cells to figure out what frequency that cell resonated at, and in some cases what frequency you needed to remove that bad cell. And then you had scientists that picked up from that. Now there was Lakovsky, but there was another gentleman out of France, Antoine Prairie, who worked with the French government, and he messed around a lot with plasma energy. I mean, literally dropping, plasma tubes the size of torpedoes and cranes in through the top of buildings, and literally had thousands and thousands and thousands of case studies, right? And so with those case studies, they were able to learn a lot. And then you get, another generation of scientists that say, wow, look what Tesla, look at Rife, look at Lakovsky, look at Prairie. And now it's like, let's see how we can push the envelope even further. And so, and there's going to be, obviously more technology as we go, but when you're dealing with dual tube energy systems with plasma, it goes beyond a third dimensional reality of dealing with your body. When you start getting into some of the things that this technology does, you're getting into other aspects which basically get into lucid dreaming, because now we're breaking down your actual body, your consciousness is a plasma energy field, and being able to disengage that plasma energy field and do things like astral projection and lucid dreaming. These are all like really high abilities that we have as human beings that we can actually start helping to trigger and start pushing ourselves into higher spiritual realms of existence. Mm-hmm. So in addition to all the third dimensional things that you can do with your body, when you start really looking at what is the real benefit of some of this technology, and you have the ability to lucid dream, and then all of a sudden it's like, wow, I'm thinking of so-and-so, and wow, they just called me, and all of a sudden my intuition is getting heightened, and all of a sudden I'm starting to manifest things more, and all of a sudden all these things are clicking because the vibrational rate that I'm in, which is basically a fear-based reality, which is what's really pushed upon us nowadays, is fear and stress and all those other things. We're getting lifted up above that. We're getting out of those low-based frequencies. We're starting to really become conscious to say, hey, you know what? We are spiritual beings, and there is so much potential that we have. But in order for us to really tap into that potential, we've got to raise the frequency of our thoughts, our mind, and basically start embracing and utilizing all these different skills that we've been given as human beings, which are, absolutely phenomenal and off the charts. So the plasma energy system that Mel has in the back, which is referred to as a Theraphi system, which, like I said, the actual logo for that whole thing is inscribed, it's hieroglyphics, is basically two plasma energy fields that are performing something called phase conjugation. But basically what they're doing is they're colliding in the middle, creating an energy field, but that energy field, being a plasma energy field, becomes recursive. And as that plasma energy field becomes recursive, it becomes a mindful and intelligent energy field. So you're actually in a mindful and intelligent energy field, and therefore getting maximum potential and maximum benefit out of something like that does require that you have your mind focused on what the outcome is that you're looking to achieve. Sometimes training the mind is as important as training the body, and in some of these types of technology, that's definitely something that you're looking to do. And then in addition to that, it's performing something because of the size and the amount of energy that's being generated with that particular system. As